and welcome to Blog Sprout. I'm LJ, and today we are going to go through my income report for month 14 of my public site case study, which is for September of 2023. So if we look at the major events that happened, we had the helpful content update. It started and completed in the month of September, and it seemed to have a little bit of an impact on my site. So we will take a look at that. And remember, this is my public site, um, not my main site. So if we look at the total number of articles, we have 42 articles currently on the site, and I only added 3 this month. That is a lot less than I expected, but I've been saying things have been busy. They're only getting busier. But by the end of this, we'll start to see how I'm going to be changing my approach to the whole SEO world. So if we look at page views, in September, Google reported 911 page views and Ezoic 1,055. So you can see from the trends before, it's definitely lower. And I do think this is in part due to the helpful content update, but when we look at the metrics, it's not very specific with the actual update. So for example, we look at the page views through Google Analytics, and it kind of just stays the same through the helpful content update. So I'm not entirely sure if my site was impacted by the helpful content update or before it came in, there was a soft update or something like that that really caused my site to decrease in traffic. What's really interesting is there's only 649 users, but still 900 page views. So it's very possible people were looking across my site. So if we look at the Ezoic page views, this is a little bit more concerning because it slowly goes down. And slowly going down doesn't typically indicate that you've been hit by an update. So if we look at the traffic source, only 40% is coming from Google. What's weird is there's 21% unknown that I haven't understood where that is coming from, but 17 Bing, 13 DuckDuckGo. And if we look at Search Console, you can really see the impact of the previous month to this month. I lost nearly half of my total impressions and over half of my total clicks. The average position went down by an average of 4 and a click-through rate by 0.5. That is a huge difference for Google results. So if we look at Bing, there were 108 clicks and 4,000 impressions, but a click-through rate of 2.73, not terrible, but not great either. 108 clicks is not all that much. So if we look at backlinks, very interestingly, I lost 1 backlink, but there are so few that I can't really take it all that to heart. But if we look at Bing, I gained 1. Yeah, I don't know. But if we look at income, it actually wasn't that bad for this month. I had $44.47. But if we take a look at the revenue from Ezoic, we can see that in mid-September it dropped off fairly dramatically, from the 11th to the 13th. And what happened there is, if you've been following my channel, you know that I moved sites from Ezoic and I was on the high premium. So this is still me recovering from those high premium options now going into regular and lower tiered premiums. So it says I have a 51 EPMV, but when we actually look at the metrics, it's more realistically like 15. And that's what we're going to see in the next month. So as I mentioned, it's closer to a 15 EPMV. So if you look at the expenses, there are no expenses. I basically paid upfront for quite some time on Ezoic Premium, so I am not paying anything at the moment. I have prepaid for everything else, my theme, my hosting. That's all been accounted for, mostly in my main site. So this one is just an extra one, which is awesome. But it's not making a lot of money, and I'm a bit concerned as to what I should be doing with this site. I think it's going to be challenging to grow. So lessons learned. I still was getting that Ezoic premium was overestimating, and now I basically prepaid, but since I'm on such a low level, it's going to be years that I am paying for it. I mean, so many years. Um, and I may be hit by the helpful content update. I know that there were so many sites this month that experienced issues with the helpful content update. Um, and my main site is one of them. And that's definitely something that we will have to follow very closely. And I'll have an income report very soon. But it's awesome to still see a very minimal site still making a few dollars. I don't expect that the October month is going to be as high. I am surprised I'm even getting a $15 EPMV, but at the same time, I feel like it could be a little bit higher. But when I think about the actual potential of this niche, I can understand why it is not so big. Um, but I'm continuing with Ezoic. I have a couple of other sites that I'm growing in like I'm letting them mature. I have like a calculator type site. My passion project is eventually going to become a site, and these updates are then going to have all of those sites together. But at the moment, they're only bringing in a few hundred people a month, and it's nothing noteworthy. But for my passion project, I'm almost at the 1,000 mark on TikTok, so I'll be able to um, get to go live and tell people to go visit my site and start a newsletter and things like that. It's going to be very exciting when I have the ability to do that. And that's really where I think this is going to go. I'm going to build this site up um, so that it can or build the brand up so that I'm focusing on a social channel, bringing them to my site, not through Google, because I think it's going to be harder and harder and harder to make money by SEO through the traditional methods that I've been using for the past almost 2 years now, which is absolutely insane. I think there's still some value, but in the long term, you really need to build a brand. And for example, my main site, this site, they're not really brands. They're kind of just one-off information sites. And because they don't have that extra EEAT, it's going to be harder to continue this business in the approach I'm taking. But or I have been taking. But from this point forward, it's going to be much easier, or not much easier, much more sustainable in the long run to build a social and then drive that traffic to your website, get the email list going and kind of build from there so that I can then take my sites, put them on Ezoic and not rely on Google. But it's much harder to do that, in my opinion. You really need to get people that are interested in what you want to do. You want to be truthful. You want to be interesting. You need to be very on top of it. Like my main site, I've been letting it sit for a long time and I haven't done a thing to it. And it's still making, over $1,000 a month. But when you have more of a following, you have to be more active. And people always mention avoiding the social treadmill, but I just think that is the way that we're going to need to go. We need to now see ourselves as content creators and find ways to do that. You don't necessarily have to be on camera, but I think creating consistent, interesting content with specific followers is going to be the best path forward. And knowing that now is really difficult because the people that started their YouTubes 10, 15 years ago, even if YouTube's been around that long, I honestly don't even know. But the ones that started it way back when are the ones that have seen success because they jumped on the bandwagon. So now if you're in my position seeing that, Google is really treating us very poorly and it's really hard to get out of ruts, we're going to need to take different approaches. And this has been talked about for the past year, but especially after this helpful content update, I think this is the way we're going to need to go. We can still get money from Ezoic. We can still get affiliate income, but we really need to have that brand. We can get some traffic from Google, but seeing how things are going now, we are going to need to focus our attention to driving traffic on our own. And it's a lot harder. So I hope that throughout my journey, I can give you some tips. And personally, I think one of the best ways for me is going to be learning through these lives, is getting people on, on my channel, making connections, telling them where to go, where they can buy the things that I'm reselling. I can send them to my website where I have reviews and affiliate income, and making a newsletter, but it's going to take a lot more effort. I don't think long gone are the days that we can make multiple thousands of dollars completely passively, in my opinion, just by doing Google. We really need to have a brand and base things on extreme personal experience. So that's kind of the route I'm going. I will continue giving updates on this site, I think, for now, but eventually I hope to have a portfolio of sites that are on Azoic that I can present to you, which will give you a better idea of the different approaches that I am taking for my content sites. I will have content sites, but I will be driving the traffic to them. But it takes a while to build up that brand and build up that following. So I hope this was slightly interesting. Had a little bit of a rant at the end there. But it's nice to see that the site's bringing in some money, and I think it will continue to. It'll rarely go down to zero, but I'm very much questioning whether or not I should stick with this site and continue putting any effort into it, considering it's just not giving me really any major returns. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm LJ, and this is Blog Sprout. Bye.